school, I think it was a sophomore, someone from the principal's office came into the classroom and told my teacher I was to report to the principal's office. I followed him down the hall. As I recall, my dad and one or two other gentlemen were sitting with the principal. My dad had never come to school before, and I had no idea why he was there. I was curious, but not worried. One of the men introduced himself to me as being an officer of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He went on to show me a local theater flyer, paper flyer, cardboard, about 6 by 9 inches, asked me what I knew about it. I told him I'd received a bundle of flyers similar to the one he held the night before at our Boy Scout meeting. I told him we were going to distribute them to homes after school so that we would earn money for a hiking trip we were going to take in the fall. He handed me the flyer and asked if this was the type of flyer we'd gotten the night before. And after looking at it, and the date and the movies described on it, I said yes. He asked how I carried the flyers, and after I told him, we went to my school locker and got them out. The flyers were about 6 by 9 inches, printed on stiff cardstock on both sides, had a hole near the center of the top. My dad had made a simple carrier consisting of a padded handle on a curved rod that threaded through the hole at the top of the flyers. He asked me if I'd lost any. I said I did not think I had. He asked how I came to school that morning. I told him I'd gotten off the school bus at the east end of the viaduct, as I usually did each morning, and walked down the rocky hillside and across the railroad tracks to the football field where we had gym class. The football field was about a quarter mile from our school, and when we finished our class, we walked through downtown Pullman to get to our next class in the high school. He asked me if I saw anything unusual on the railroad tracks that morning. I said no. He then told me that a large rock, a few feet in diameter, had been discovered near where I crossed the tracks that morning. Fortunately, they found it before a train came along. He thought the rock had been manhandled in between the track rails sometime overnight, and that one of the flyers had been found near it. He continued by telling me that he had learned the movie theaters were not to be delivered until after school that day, and finding one next to the rock was of interest to him. He seemed convinced that I had told him the truth, and I had not seen the rock, even though it must have been close to where I crossed the railroad tracks that morning. I was told I could go back to my classroom. I talked briefly with my dad. Later at home that night, my dad, mom, and I figured the rock on the railroad was an ill-considered college prank or stunt. We decided one of the flyers must have blown off as I exited the school bus and went down the hill. We decided to put a big rubber band around the flyers while transporting them the next time. I was not fingerprinted, but always wondered if the FBI kept track of me just in case.